It is your comedy minute, and I have a fantastic comedian who you may have seen on Comedy Central. Naveed Mahbub is here.
Hey, Scott, thank you for
Did I,
having me.
Naveed? I'm real concerned that I said your name correctly. Naveed Mahbub.
Hey, you're there. I mean,
Well, that's how you
it's
told me to say it.
well, I was trying to help you say it because I know I will admit to the fact that it's not, for at least for other cultures, it's nobody's fault. It's really the limitation of a particular language which determines the way they pronounce
I
words.
was going to
Okay,
go with Mahbub,
that's okay. I mean, that a lot of people do say maboob,
but no,
but
you say that's how you told me to say it.
so that that's two for two reasons. One, A, it's easy for you to pronounce,
I'm
and
confused.
B, for you to actually get a kick out of it because a lot of
We're
people
all,
do get a kick out of it.
well, you did a
They
whole
say,
story about it.
and
Is
it's
that
a
a true
true story.
story? Is that a
It
true
is a
story you did?
it's a, look, you're a comic, I'm a comic. Whatever we say are true, and this is a true story. My boss, this was back in the 90s in Michigan. He used to call me Squeeze. I said, why? Because squeeze my boob. And then he called me, hey, wanna see? I said, wanna see what? No, your name is wanna see Mabu. Corny, but that's what it is. But the actual pronunciation, and you don't have to try and do
I'm
it
gonna
if you
because
can.
who knows? Maybe you'll come back again and I'll do it right. Tell me how to
Okay,
really say it.
okay. The actual pronunciation, first name is Naveed, which you got it right. It's
Right?
as I say in español, habla y comprendo español un poquito. It is similar.
No habla.
Mi
No
nombre,
habla.
no, mi nombre es similar de Feliz Navidad. That's how you
Oh,
pronounce it. It's like
geez.
Feliz Navidad, Navid.
Now
No,
I know enough Spanish that
so
that's
there you go. So when I say this to the Spanish speaking people, or who knows a little bit of Spanish, they say, "Oh, okay, I got it, Navid." So that part is done. And the last name is spelled Mahbub. So it
right.
really is Mahbub. So there's an H. It's like a gusty and squally wind coming out if I haven't brushed my teeth.
Wow.
So just make sure I don't say my name in the first thing in the morning when I haven't brushed my teeth. This is a complaint my wife has had
All
for the last
right.
20
All
years.
right.
Look,
We
honey,
we only
I
got to your
changed.
name. Holy heck, we got a lot to do.
I know. Well, let me finish this.
All right. You're in
She,
New York. You're in New
no,
York right now.
I know New York is a great city. So
All
she
right.
said,
But
honey, I married you under an arranged marriage. I changed my name for you. And now you don't have to pronounce it Mahbub in front of me in the
all
morning
right. All right.
without
Now
brushing your
you're
teeth.
in New York, but you're from Bangladesh. Is that correct?
That is correct. I am from Bangladesh.
How
I
did
am.
you end up in New York from Bangladesh? Do you mind talking about that? How did that happen?
Okay. Now, I lived in the US for a while, but this was in Michigan and California.
All right.
2009, we meaning my wife and one kid at that time, we moved back to Bangladesh to start a comedy scene, start
I
my late night
yeah, that,
show,
you can
comedy
keep
club.
going with that because you were if again, I hate to interject, but I think if I read right, you and your wife more or less brought stand-up comedy to Bangladesh and opened a comedy club.
That's right, sir.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But to answer the question, why I'm in New York. So now I'm back in New York after 15 years because I figured that, okay, I may be a big name there and I may have done comedy shows in 30 countries, but I don't know where I stand in the US. And so let's pick New York City, which is the epicenter of stand up comedy. Of course, LA is there, but I worked LA. Now let me be in New York. Let me swim with the sharks. They're fantastic comics, they're great comedy clubs. Let's see where I stand here. So I'm here to test myself and see where I am. That's the reason I'm in New York.
Okay. Now let's touch on the comedy club in Bangladesh. You and your wife, and it's still around. And you guys more or less brought comedy to Bangladesh, stand-up comedy.
Yes, because comedy has always been around. Now, in the whole world, in the last 2 decades roughly, stand up comedy has exploded.
Right.
And it's not that we did anything novel, we just introduced the concept of stand up comedy. which is that you're not telling jokey jokes or doing physical humor. You are doing physical humor, but it's stand up the way we know it. You
Right.
have the setup, punchline, segues, and all the whole 9 yards. Only difference, we are doing it in Bangla, which is the local language,
Right.
and
Right.
that took the whole thing by storm.
I
It
see.
wasn't rocket science, so we just started that. And the same thing actually happened in just about every other country around
Right.
the world where stand-up has not been around historically, like UK, Canada,
Yep.
USA, Australia. It's been around, but you're talking about India, Bangladesh, Pakistan,
Okay.
Cambodia, Laos,
Right.
Vietnam, all these countries. So we simply were the first to do it, and it just took the whole country by
Right.
storm.
Well,
So
you
we've
see,
been
I,
very
I
fortunate.
just had a friend of mine on from China who she talked about the different languages and playing in Hong Kong or at Cantonese and what she works in the mainland China versus. So I just find the whole thing very interesting.
It's very interesting, and if you now think about it, it's not really a very hard idea. You're doing the same thing, but just in a different language. And just because the language is nothing but a delivery mechanism where everybody's comfortable. And stand-up comedy is really like hanging out, right? So if you're in the US, even here, if you're in the South, you have an accent. You're in the North, you have an accent. You're near. So it's like if you're in Shanghai, you're
Yeah.
speaking Mandarin. If you're in Hong Kong, you're speaking Cantonese. You are still hanging out. Now you just bring it to the stage. You just have
Right.
a better chemistry. And everything comes down to being relevant. That's all there is to it.
Okay. Oh,
And
just
that's
one
comedy.
last point on that, and we'll move on. Majo Rivadeneira was on, and she's been actually on a few times. And Majo is from Mexico, but she went to Canada and she does her shows in English. But now they're wanting more shows in Spanish, so she's actually doing more shows in Spanish now. And yet she learned English. I just find that whole thing real interesting.
It's not only interesting, it's also a natural progression.
Right.
And I'll tell you, right, like 20 years ago, I started in LA, San Diego, and I was just doing English comedy. And one day I was invited to a Bangladeshi dinner, and they said, "Hey, you're a stand-up comedy, do some comedy." And on the fly, I said, "Why am I going to do it in English? Let's just do it in Bangla, my language." And I could tell that I could be a lot more there just
Right.
because
Okay.
that's my first language. Then I said, "Wait a second, here's another market." And so
Okay.
in Bangladesh, I actually do Bangla comedy. In fact, just a week from now, I'm doing a corporate show in Orlando, Florida for doctors. It's a doctors convention, but
Okay.
Bangladeshi doctors. And I'm going to do it all in Bangla.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful. Wonderful.
it's just because you are more comfortable and
Right.
they say,
Okay.
"Oh yeah, we are at home." So
Well,
what she did,
we could go on this for a long time because I have Scott Shanahan who's in Italy and he talks about doing jokes in Italian that some jokes don't work that his English jokes, English jokes don't work in Italian or the other way around.
exactly, exactly. And
Right.
in my case, I can give you an example. There's roughly at best 50% overlap because, as you said, it
All right.
doesn't they
50%
get lost in translation.
lost in
For
translation.
example, there are even nuances in words.
Yep.
Okay, let's say over here you say, "Hey, you're a douchebag." This is a great word. It just that one word, it just explains. Oh, you know what? He's a douchebag, and people will laugh. If I translate that to Bangla, what the hell?
What is
But
do?
that equivalent word in Bangla is very different, and if I translate it,
Right.
you've
Okay. All
lost me.
right.
You understand?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So we touched on it. When did you actually start doing comedy, and was there a catalyst? Was there something that said Naveed do comedy?
20 years ago is when I started at
All
the
right.
comedy store in San Diego and then in LA. Mitzi Shore, who owns the club,
Yeah, I
her
read that in
daughter,
your bio.
Sandy
Right.
Shore, was my mentor. And that time, there really were not that many brown comics. Now
Right.
you see a lot of ethnic comics from all walks, which is
Right.
fantastic. So when I went to Sandy Shore, and that also has a prelude that my wife and I, we were at the comedy store in La Jolla, San Diego, and for a show on Valentine's. And after the show, we were hanging out with the headliner. And I was talking to him, and he said, "Hey, you know what? If you're funny," and if I said, "Yeah, I like to hang out and be funny," he said, "Well, why don't you go talk to Sandy?" And I go talk to Sandy, And she was quite pleasantly surprised. She said, "You know what? I work with comics. I've never seen a Bangladeshi engineer married, you know, a comic. And yeah, let's work together for a couple of months." And then she said, "You know what, Naveed, you're educated, you're smart. You can work in a different domain. Don't go dirty. Work clean, talk
Right.
about your
Yeah.
life." And that's it. That's how I started my journey. And
Okay.
then also, I'm a Muslim. I went for the Hajj. Hajj is the Muslim pilgrimage in Mecca. You may have heard about it. So I went there, and every day I was attending funerals, and everybody would have funerals during the
Right.
Hajj because there's so many millions of people. And then I was saying, I am attending so many funerals, and that's really the
Need
end
some
journey for
laughter. Yeah.
everybody. For everybody, that's the end journey. So what am I doing from now until then? What am I leaving for the planet, for our children? Not just my culture and my religion, everybody. For this, what are we doing for our children? What strong message, what happiness are we leaving for them? What compelling story am I going to tell little impressionable children or teenagers when I'm an old grandpa? It
Well,
doesn't matter who they are.
I,
So I said, you know what? Comedy is powerful. You can tell so many truths through comedy. So let's just do comedy. Okay,
comedians
thank you.
that inspired you and comedians that you like today.
You know what? Everybody, because I think it's such a hard art form. Every
Okay.
comic that goes up on stage, people say, "Oh, that was corny, that was
Right.
horrible." I say,
Right.
you have no idea how hard this person works. But if you go to specifics, George Carlin, hands down. The
I had a
reason is that
conversation with George. Not to interrupt. I
you
had a
did.
yes, I did.
Oh
Keep
my
going.
God.
Keep going. I met Rodney
And
Dangerfield. I'm
oh my
comedy
God.
through and through.
Wow. So you
Keep
met the
going.
legends.
Yeah.
George Carlin, the reason is that he is
Very
brilliant with his
smart, funny
words,
guy.
very smart. He can take you on a journey
Yeah.
into territories that I and many most people can't. He can go sensitive areas without
Yeah.
offending that much the people, and make you think. That is what I thought was brilliant, and I try to replicate even if I can for a little bit. Of course, there's Richard Pryor. Same thing. There's I mean the list goes on. If you talk about comics of today, I can talk about Jim Gaffigan. A,
Okay.
he's clean. B, he can take the simplest topics, my six children, hot pocket, but he can take you on a journey. That is sheer brilliance. He's so
He's
clean
on
that
every
he,
Sunday morning on CBS. He's on every Sunday morning. I love him.
exactly. His daughter opened for him. He opened for the Pope. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld, he talks about
Right.
very simple observation. Brian Regan, you
Okay.
talk about Eddie Izzard. You know, he goes
Okay.
into history. He's so well read. He talks about history. Trevor Noah. I mean, the list goes on. And you
Okay.
can see a
Okay.
common
Okay.
thread here is that the reason I love these comics is Dave Chappelle,
Okay.
is that they are funny, but they take you on a journey. They make
Right.
you
Right.
think.
Right.
They go deep. Sometimes we don't even understand how deep they are, and we
Until they turn
misunderstand
it
them.
at the very end and bring it, wrap it all around.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
Let's
the
move
reason
on.
I
Let's
like
move
them.
on. You performed in, now I had written down 20, but you said 30 different countries.
Correct.
Do you have a favorite place to play? In other words, when you go back to Bangladesh, or is there a favorite place that you, and we could tie it in, I'll do two parts. A favorite show, least favorite show.
There's no such thing as a least favorite because all have been great,
Okay.
and there's
I
no
hear that a
such as a
lot. I hear that
favorite.
a lot.
Yeah, and all are different. It's really hard to compare one with the other. Apples and oranges. Different countries are different, people are different, but the one common thread is that if you read the room, if you understand how they operate, and then as a comic, when you connect with them, you will never go wrong. And that's really been my story. So I will never say this was better than the other, this is more favorite.
You don't
They
have a
were all
favorite. You
great.
don't have
No, no,
not one.
no one. Right now, your show is my favorite. I'm having a blast.
Oh
Not,
man. Wow.
I'm not
Have you
taking
been
crumbs. I'm
drinking? Have
taking
you
them.
been drinking?
No,
All
I'm a
right, now
Muslim. I've never touched
you're
Muslim
about to
drink.
change your mind here in a second because I always try and throw at least one little curveball in. In Bangladesh, apparently, they have an enhanced interrogation technique.
Which country doesn't have? You tell me. The US has it too. But the Bangladesh one, I know why you're
Sorry,
laughing because
I'm
you know
sorry.
what it is.
Did I get you? Did I
Yes, you
get
did.
you?
And I can
Did I?
elaborate because The
No,
audience will
I
not
mean,
know the reference.
look, I don't know, Naveed. For people that don't know, we met for 5 minutes on the show, and you were at a dumpster, and you were worried about ice.
I was. I still worry about ice.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the enhanced interrogation technique in Bangladesh.
Okay. This is that they take a boiled, hard boiled egg, which is right hot of the water, and they shove it up your behind. Now, this is something which is known as egg therapy. Now, this is something the authorities neither acknowledge nor deny. And I remember there was a high ranking police official in the audience one, and I asked this question, and his answer was, I said, tell me now, is it true or is it not true? And he said, depends.
I, I need to know. I need to know, Naveed.
Okay,
Well, you know
suppose,
what? No, wait. I may have figured it out because you told me, as a comedian, everything you say is true.
well, that's as I said, it's like in the US. There are many things that you have no proof of, nobody acknowledges, nor nobody denies. But you know that it's true.
I guess,
And
like,
you can,
what, maybe the Epstein list? They think maybe that's true.
I was just about to talk about that, and this is just one example. There's so many other things.
Go back at the boiled egg, the hot egg coming in the work in the sphincter.
Yeah, so let's come back to that. Necessity is the mother of invention. If you really think about it, not now, but at least at one point you could buy eggs for cheap in the United States. So if they would have thought about it, this would be something they would have used. The CIA and FBI would have used it. They're saying that now we can't because it's expensive. We need to cut down the federal budget to use eggs. So they're still sticking to waterboarding or whatever they do. In
I
Bangladesh,
just
we can't do waterboarding. Water is a scarcity. You open the tap, you don't get water. That's why we can't do waterboarding. We cannot do electric shock therapy because we have power outages there. You have to use a generator. And to run a generator, you need diesel fuel. And diesel fuel is more expensive than gasoline. It's like $5, $6, $7 a gallon. You understand, to get the truth, we have to be very, very, very innovative. I don't know who sells eggs over here. You should export it to Bangladesh.
I really, I'm having a hard time. I really thought the egg therapy was something true, but now I'm having a hard time believing it.
No, no, it is true. Okay, you
I
want
don't
it? You
believe.
want the truth?
I'm going to
It
look
is
it up
true.
after when this interview's over. I'm going to get onto Google. Imagine I'm going to ask Google, do they in Bangladesh is hard boiled egg?
It happens. Or even if you want to know the truth, you come to Bangladesh.
No, good.
It'll be very easy for you to get into trouble. I'll make
Oh
sure you
yeah,
get into
yeah.
trouble, and the
I'll be
rest
making
will
egg
be history.
salad. I'll be making egg salad for God's sakes.
You'll make
Uh,
egg salad after the out of the. Don't give them ideas. You'll have egg salad which is made from recycled egg after being used on you. Nothing goes to waste in Bangladesh. You have
Now
to
you wanted
understand
to
that.
talk about the Epstein list. You still want to talk about that?
I don't know much about it, but if you want to talk about it, let's talk.
I don't want to. I want to do what it's your comedy minute, Naveed. You can talk about anything you want to talk about.
Well, I mean,
How about the
it's
price
it.
of eggs in Egypt? What do you think about that?
What happened? Is there a news there or a
I
reference there?
don't
Or
know.
no?
I don't know.
No. Look, eggs are cheap everywhere. In Bangladesh, it's cheap.
Okay.
If the U.S. customs would have allowed me to bring farm products in the U.S., I would fill my suitcase with eggs and sell them in Manhattan, and I could fly back business class with that money.
Eggs are going back up on the rise now.
Did they ever fall? I don't know. I
I
stopped
don't
having eggs over
know. I saw an old Pepsi commercial. I did it again. I saw an old Pepsi commercial, and you were the star. And I was just curious, do you enjoy, would you like to do more TV? Because again, I'm being goofy, and you're bringing it out of me. But you've been on TV, you've done a lot of stuff. Your YouTube has 112,000 followers. You're an amazing guy. Do you enjoy doing the acting and TV work like you were on Comedy Central? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
here. Sure. I've done 4 TV commercials, 5 in fact, and Pepsi is
Okay.
one of them. Um, Acting is something I don't think I'm very good at, but and do I enjoy it? I don't think so because you are a comedian too. We like to be ourselves, unscripted, ad lib. In acting, you have to be very much in script, in character. It's very hard for a comic to be somebody we are not. So I've done great commercials. The end products look good, and I work with the finest directors, but they all said, Naveed, you're horrible. It's difficult to work with it. You're the best person for the character. That's why we're working with you. Otherwise, you're horrible. It is so difficult. They even tell
You're
this to me right now.
horrible. You're
Yeah, because I couldn't act. So if you ask me, I mean, did I enjoy it? Probably no, but it was a lot of money. It was great experience, and I'm
okay.
always looking for experience. This was when I was in college. One commercial gave me so much money that
Yeah.
I couldn't
Okay.
even earn over a whole 1 year. And it gave me fame. Women were liking me. I'm not saying I took advantage of that. It's just the feeling that, wow, I was a star.
Okay.
And they said, you know what? He's not a loser. He's an engineering student. He's a smart kid, but at the same time, he's a Pepsi model. And it's funny that my
Yeah,
wife,
you were. It was amazing. You were a good looking young man. Not that you're not a good. You're good. You're
I
still.
was going to say,
No,
but yeah, yes, I was. And I think, that time
you
I
were the
was
star.
15.
That you were the star of the commercial.
Yes, and I would request everybody look it up, Naveed Mahbub, Pepsi, and it's going to pop up.
I'm gonna put the links to your
Okay.
Instagram, your YouTube, whatever you have. It all is gonna your website, everything here, buddy. It's all about
Thank
you,
you.
man.
Thank you. And yeah, and the funny part is that interesting part in Bangladesh at that time, there was only one TV channel. There was no cable. This is what a while back. Only one TV channel. So 100 million people were watching me every
Your
day.
Pepsi
So I
commercial.
was a household name. Even today, after 30 years, people say that was classic. We remember that ad. So
Yeah.
it was amazing of an
Okay.
experience,
Well, I'm
definitely.
glad I brought
That
it up.
recognition.
You talk about Comedy Central, because again, I'm not sure. I write down a lot of stuff, when I do these. Um, First person from Bangladesh on Comedy Central, is that right?
As far as I know. And
Okay.
at least the Bangladeshi who lives in Bangladesh definitely the first one. And the way it
Okay.
worked was that the Comedy Central back in 2016 did a one season of a special called Stand Up Asia, and they
Okay.
they ran 13 episodes. Each episode was 24 minutes, and each episode would air 3 comics from 3 different Asian countries, each doing 8 minutes of stand-up comedy
Right.
at this very famous comedy club in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, called LOL Comedy Club.
All
So
right.
I was one of the 24 from those 24 countries. I was very fortunate to have been selected to do the show. I did it. That was my little claim to fame.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. We're gonna wrap it up here pretty short. I want to you're touring. You're going on the road. I looked at your website today and saw we going. Well, you mentioned Miami, and you're still working like crazy.
Yes, I am. And really, that's the reason I'm in New York. I'm here not to have fun, not that I'm not having fun. But my family is back in Bangladesh. I miss my wife, my kids, my everybody. So when I'm here, I'm really trying to do as many shows as possible because the more
Okay.
I do, the more I understand the audience, you see. And that's why I take up every opportunity to do shows anywhere so that I can connect with the audience. Florida is different. And
Right.
next week I'm doing Florida. Then end of August, I'm doing Atlanta, Georgia. I did New Jersey. I want to do the whole country.
Good.
And so
Good.
anybody wants to book me, I'm very flexible and I can work all
And
audience. I'm
Naveed, I
100%
will
clean.
do everything in my power to help. I think the world of you. You're amazing.
Thank you, sir. Be my
Amazing
agent.
guy.
Be my agent. Be my manager.
No,
Please.
just let's keep going here. We got a little more work to do.
Okay.
I want to thank Patrick Golden because if it wasn't for Patrick, I would have never met you. We put
Patrick, thank
together,
you.
you were on the comedy showcase I threw together. And, I want to do more of those. And I just thank you for that. And I thank you for coming here today. Is there anything before, and hopefully you're going to do a Your Comedy Minute because that's the name of the show. Make something up. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, whatever you want. But before you do that, is there anything that you want to mention? Again, I'll put all the links, your website, all your tour dates. Anything else other than you want to just dominate the U.S., be the best, the next Dave Chappelle?
Well, I mean, I don't want to be next Dave Chappelle. I just want to earn everybody's love and respect through comedy. And I hope I can do the same. Through comedy, I can win your hearts,
Yeah,
that we can all be brothers and sisters and
yeah,
live in harmony. Doesn't matter what religion, color, race,
yeah.
orientation, nationality, political conviction. I don't care. Here's what I say. We're humans at the end. If I cut my, it's going to be red for everybody. So I just want to be that person so I can give love and give me your love and whatever I can do. If I'm bad, give me advice. How can I be good? That's it.
I don't think you could ever be bad, my friend. You are funny as heck.
I mean, as a bad person, even by being funny, if I'm hurting anybody,
Oh,
let
good
me know.
Lord.
Let me know because it's definitely inadvertent. Sometimes cultural nuances may
Oh
make
yeah,
me
yeah,
do or
yeah,
say
yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah. Yeah, I worked with a guy, before I got fired for my job for telling jokes.
Mm.
But I worked with a guy named Sam Roon, and he would say things and people would be offended. It was just the cultural difference, you know. He would say like to my women should not be working, and they would be real offended. And he just meant that that's the way it was. He didn't think that women should be working. You know what I mean? It's just funny that you can get yourself in trouble real quick.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm honest,
Like
and if I'm wrong,
If I go to Bangladesh, I'm making egg salad. That's for sure.
again, it'll be recycled eggs. Keep that in mind. Okay.
I love you. I love you. And you come back again. But for now, we have to do it. We're going to run out of time. Naveed Mahbub,
Okay.
your
What
comedy
kind of?
minute. Naveed Mahbub, your comedy minute. Go ahead. You got it.
Okay. So I'm here in the United States, and when I say that I'm from Bangladesh, and sometimes actually everybody applauses. And this is what I tell them. I wish that was the response I got at JFK immigration. And I tell them that don't worry, I've got a confirmed return ticket. Ice, ice, baby.
Ice Ice Baby. Are you a big Vanilla Ice fan?
Well, let's just put it this way. I listen to the song every day to remind myself, Naveed, be careful.
Naveed became. Now you're in America. You don't have to worry. They're not going to come.
No, I mean,
You're in good. You're
Okay,
safe.
this is part of the 1 minute.
I have
This
a
is
Donald Trump doll. I'll get you
no,
out of any trouble you got.
I don't trust you. I mean, I don't trust you. Nobody. I mean, you could be my cellmate in El Salvador. I don't know. So, don't say that you're safe. Nobody's safe. But one thing I can tell you, I'm very comfortable now in the United States because America is now really like Bangladesh. Here, you can have a leader of the country who's got criminal records. You can have a mayor in New York City who's taking favors from Turkish Airlines. You can you can you can get picked up by people without showing their IDs. And I have a feeling these people are actually shoving boiled eggs down the behind right now. And last but not the least, Scott, last but not the least, the weather in New York City, if not the whole of United States, what you're calling the heat dome, this is just like Bangladesh. I am so much at home in the United States that you're saying is horrible. It has changed. I said, finally, America has become like Bangladesh. Thank
Okay.
you.
It is so hot here today. I'm in Pennsylvania, just up from New York, down from New York. It is so hot today, Naveed. I bought a dozen eggs when I went to the store. When I came home, there were 12 chicks in the bag.
Oh, I would say that when you came home, there were 10 chicks in the bag, and two were used for Scott to tell the truth. And nothing but the truth. So help me, eggs.
I'm going to stop the recording so we can
Okay.
spend a minute or two off the air. Thank you, Naveed. I had a great time.
I had a great time. Scott, thank you for making me happy. I was having a
All right,
not so
cool.
great a
Hang
day. You make me happy.